Mr. Money Mustache, the writer behind the extremely popular Mr. Money Mustache blog, retired at just 31 years old. So in this video, I'm going through exactly how he went from $0 to $800,000 in less than 10 years. And make sure to stick around to the end because that's when I'll share the big takeaways and how Mr. Money Mustache could have retired even faster. Year 0. Mr. Money Mustache graduated in 1997 and immediately began his career. And already, there's two super important takeaways. First, Mr. Money Mustache studied computer engineering, which helped him land a job with a whopping starting salary of $41,000. That might not sound like a lot, but in today's money, that's about $80,000. STEM jobs have great early career starting salaries, which makes them a great option for reaching financial freedom. Other jobs might pay more eventually, but it might take a long time to get to the big bucks. And second, Mr. Money Mustache graduated with $0 of debt. He was frugal, worked summers, and got scholarships, which all helped him graduate debt-free. Year 1. You might think that to retire at 31 years old, Mr. Money Mustache must have done everything perfectly and lived like a monk. But he didn't. His first year, he actually made a lot of mistakes. He bought an almost brand new sports car, which cost almost half of his salary, and he went into debt to pay it off. He enjoyed nightlife too, and took a trip to Mexico. But through a combination of working hard and the favorable economic conditions, Mr. Money Mustache got a sizable raise, and he still ended the year with $5,000 in retirement savings. Year 2. In year 2, Mr. Money Mustache started to make some smarter financial decisions. He put another $5,000 into retirement accounts, $3,000 into an employer stock plan, and had an extra $10,000 in savings. And one of the reasons that Mr. Money Mustache was saving so much was he was living with roommates, and that meant he was only paying about $350 in rent. I'm actually doing the exact same thing because rents where I live are astronomical. So this can be a super powerful way to save money. So by the end of the year, Mr. Money Mustache had $23,000 in savings. Year 3. In late 1999, Mr. Money Mustache switched jobs, which is when he moved from Canada to America. And this was at the time that the tech market was going through the roof, so Mr. Money Mustache's new job had a sweet salary of $77,000, which is about $140,000 in today's money. Plus, his company stock had gone up, which he sold to partially cover a down payment on a new house. So by the end of year 3, Mr. Money Mustache had $67,000 in savings, most of which was equity in his house. Year 4. During year 4, Mr. Money Mustache's girlfriend came to join him. She found a job earning $44,000 a year, and he got a small raise to $83,000. So at this point, Mr. Money Mustache and his future wife had a lot of income coming in. But they still weren't saving as much as they could. They took several international vacations and spent way more than they needed to. But they did take advantage of company retirement accounts, and they made extra payments on the house as they could. So by the end of year 4, they had $150,000 in savings. Year 5. During year 5, Mr. Money Mustache and his future wife got big raises. Combined, they brought in around $160,000 that year. So I think a big lesson that you can learn from Mr. Money Mustache is that hard work really can pay off. And if you're at a company that doesn't value your work, you should find another position. And the income that Mr. Money Mustache and his girlfriend earned helped offset a lot of stupid financial decisions, including a wasteful $10,000 purchase of a motorcycle and lots of social activities. So you don't have to deprive yourself to reach financial freedom. Being frugal is powerful, but that doesn't mean you have to be miserable. So despite their spending, they had a net worth of about $250,000. Year 6. It wasn't until year 6 that Mr. Money Mustache finally made the smart decision to sell his car and stop making stupid financial decisions. Between small raises and investment returns, they increased their net worth to $365,000. Year 7. Year 7 was about the same. They didn't earn any raises, but they kept their spending pretty moderate and still had great incomes. And this is where the power of investing really becomes apparent. Their net worth increased by about $30,000 just from investment returns. Investing is really important to enable financial independence because it helps your savings grow as you withdraw money to live off of. As long as your investments grow more than you spend, you'll never run out of money. But what Mr. Money Mustache's journey shows is that not only is investing important to enable financial independence, it also helps you increase your wealth as you get there. Just 7 years into his career, Mr. Money Mustache and his girlfriend had a net worth of $490,000. Year 8. In year 8, things finally started to take off. For one, Mr. Money Mustache got married, but this is also the year that he tested out early retirement. He took a 20% pay cut in exchange for a 4-day work week, but between salary, stock options, and a bonus, he still took home around $125,000 this year. Plus, his wife got a modest raise, and their investments continued to have great returns. At this point, they had a $600,000 net worth. Year 9. So, after just 9 years, Mr. Money Mustache quit his job. He got involved in a home building project just to stay busy, and his wife continued to work until she gave birth to their first kid. And with Mr. Money Mustache no longer working, they moved out of the extremely expensive city they lived in to a much cheaper nearby town. They kept their original house and started renting it out for even more money. So by the end of just 9 years of work for Mr. Money Mustache, and even fewer for his wife, they had a net worth of $720,000. Year 10 and beyond. Despite retiring, Mr. Money Mustache actually managed to become much wealthier. After moving again, selling both of the rentals and Mr. Money Mustache's overpriced motorcycle, they crossed a net worth of $800,000. From then, Mr. Money Mustache and his wife continued to work or volunteer as they pleased. A few years after retiring, Mr. Money Mustache started his blog, which at least at one point brought in over $400,000 in a single year. But either way, in less than a decade, Mr. Money Mustache and his family had enough money to never work again. So I think there are 3 really big takeaways that you can learn from Mr. Money Mustache. First, work hard. Mr. Money Mustache worked extremely hard at his job to advance in his career as fast as he did, and that definitely meant working more than 40 hours a week sometimes. But that extra work now can literally mean years less work in the future. That's an investment of your time that might be worth it. Second, frugality matters. As much as Mr. Money Mustache and his wife earned, most people in their position would have just spent it. And in the city he lived in, that would have been very easy to do. But instead, he and his wife lived on $30,000 to $40,000 a year, which gave them tens of thousands of dollars in savings. And Mr. Money Mustache has claimed that the biggest single factor producing this low living cost was deciding to live close to work and not commute excessively by car. Another way to save money is by switching to a cheaper phone plan. Both Mr. Money Mustache and I have partnered with Mint Mobile, a wireless carrier that has phone plans for as low as $15 a month. In fact, I may have first learned about Mint Mobile through Mr. Money Mustache. But despite Mr. Money Mustache's frugality, he could have spent even less money. In fact, I'm spending less money, which is why I'm on track to reach financial independence even faster than Mr. Money Mustache did. And the third lesson is to invest early. Investment gains might seem small at the start, but investing is a long-term game. Those returns can really start to snowball, and they made a massive difference on Mr. Money Mustache's wealth. And this is even better when you can do it with the help of company benefits. Taking advantage of stock options or retirement matching contributions is often just free money, and that can make a huge difference on your wealth. And that's how Mr. Money Mustache retired at 31 years old. But what if you don't want to retire early? What if instead you want to stay poor forever? Well, in that case, you need to watch this video next, where I tell you exactly how you can do that. Check it out, and I'll see you next time.